Hi, I'm Daryl Urbanski, and welcome to the Best Business Podcast. My mission is to help create 200 new multi-millionaire business owners. How? You'll do better when you know better. In my interviews, you'll hear from self-made millionaires, seven-figure business owners, authors, and world-class experts sharing how they did it so you can too without experiencing the same obstacles they did. Now, if you like this interview, please share it with a friend you think will benefit. They'll appreciate it, and I will as well. You can also connect with me on social media. Look for Daryl Urbanski, D-A-R-Y-L, Urban Ski, U-R-B-A-N-S-K-I, and add me so we can be friends. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy what I've prepared for you right here, right now. Right now, I like to share with you 3 things which I believe will help improve your life, save you money, plus make your business and income grow fast. The first is to call 1-888-844-4769 or 1-888-844-GROW. Introduce yourself and tell me how I can help or how far you've come from where you were when you started. Your story can inspire others plus motivate those who are in now or have come from a similar situation. Second is let me suggest the best of the best options available for your current business. I speak to a lot of people and I can connect you to the expert, resource, or tool which will get you the growth you want in your business now if you will just take a second to tell me about yourself. Visit bestbusinesscoach.ca/help. I'll diagnose the exact thing you need to get you from where you are now to where you want to be in your life and business. Once again, just go to bestbusinesscoach.ca/help. And with a couple clicks, you'll see what I'd suggest you do if you sat down in front of me and helped me understand your current mental, physical, financial situation, plus the stage and status of your current business now. So once again, go to bestbusinesscoach.ca/help, click on what best describes you, and only get the best you deserve. Your time is important, so help me get you the right tool, introduction, strategy, tactic, or tidbit of information you need for better revenues and save your time by needing less effort. Work smarter, not harder. I'm suggesting you help me help you work on your business instead of in it. Third, check out morefreemoney.com to plug a money-sucking black hole and save your business from disaster before it's too late. See, most entrepreneurs don't give their credit card processing accounts a second thought, but that's a big mistake costing you thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars each year. Money you deserve because you're the one who's done all the hard work you do to make the sale. The merchant industry is so bloated with fees, shaving 0.5% or even a full percent can be worth a fortune to your bottom line. All you're doing is keeping more of the money you're already making. The other risk is having the wrong merchant account puts your entire business at risk if and when you hit a sudden growth spurt. Your merchant can decide to keep the money for 8 months plus and shut down your ability to charge credit cards or even switch to a different merchant. Don't wait until it's too late. It takes 5 minutes and it's 100% free to find out how much you can save and make sure the merchant you have right now is the right one for your type of business. Be strategic. Set yourself up for safe long-term growth. Visit morefreemoney.com to see how much more money you could be keeping from sales you already make. Stop your merchant from stealing from you after you close a sale and collect payment. Visit morefreemoney.com now. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always, and today we're joined by John Lee Dumas. John is the founder and host of Entrepreneur on Fire, an award-winning podcast revealing the journey of today's most inspiring entrepreneurs 7 days a week. He generates over $250,000 a month in revenue and offers a free 15-day course on podcasting at freepodcastcourse.com. With over 1 million unique listens a month, Entrepreneur on Fire has inspired Fire Nation to take control of their life and take the entrepreneurial leap. I first met John when he interviewed me for his own podcast, and shortly after we got to know each other a little bit better over tea at his apartment. I've asked him to come here today to share with us some of his secrets. So John, long time no talk, my friend. Thank you for joining us today, and how are you doing?
I could not be better, Daryl. It's always a pleasure, whether it's talking to you on my podcast, on my balcony, and now on your podcast. So I'm prepared to ignite, brother.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, first of all, some people may or may not know you listening to this, but maybe could you give us a bit of a background of what you did before you got into the podcasting scene? Because I don't think you were you always an entrepreneur?
I was never an entrepreneur, and I kind of really like to tell this story because I think a lot of people kind of get a little overwhelmed when they hear people like Gary Vaynerchuk, is making $2,000 a month on baseball cards when he was 70 years old. And, they hear the stories of like Tim Ferriss and all the other like great entrepreneurs who just kind of seem like they were born with it. Well, I was born without it. I, did the bare minimum for my entire life, basically, especially in high school. I was B student, I mowed one lawn every week for $20 because that was enough money. And, I had other people being like, hey, can you mow my lawn? I'm like, nope, because I have all the money that I need. $20 a month, $20 a week. What else do I need in high school? And it's, same thing in college, just did enough to get by and then to have fun, with sports, with school, with girls, whatever it might be. And, that kind of was my life. I loved having fun. I loved enjoying life, but I was never just like that person with the nose to the grindstone, like always looking for the edge, looking to be an entrepreneur, looking to make money. And I never did. So it wasn't until I was 32 years old, Daryl, that I took my first stab at this entrepreneurship thing. I will be honest. Just picture like a guy that's blindfolded facing a major league pitcher and just swinging. I happened to just hit a home run, honestly, like 9 times out of 10, when people start, their first journey, their first entrepreneurial thing, they fail miserably. And I failed miserably on many things since. But, my first real venture was Entrepreneur on Fire. I did knock it out of the park with it, with a lot of luck. And it's been a fun ride ever since.
That's awesome. And I appreciate your candor because, it's true. And that's part of what this podcast is about, is finding the real stories. But one thing that you've got that's extremely valuable is that brain, because now you've talked to, you said, you're like thousands of entrepreneurs, right? And you've had them all kind of give you their secrets. Do you see a recurring theme among the most successful people? Are there things that come up again and again and again?
Couple things. Number one, they found a mentor, but not just any mentor, Daryl. And this is where a lot of people make the mistake. Oh, I got to find a mentor. It's not just any mentor. You have to find somebody who is where you want to be specifically. Like, even if Richard Branson would have mentored me when I first started, he would have been a horrible mentor for me because that's not where I want to be. He's a billionaire, but, that's too vague. I wanted to be a successful business podcaster. So I went to a successful business podcaster, Jamie Tardy of The Eventual Millionaire, and I asked her to mentor me. And I invested in myself financially. And guess what? I became a successful business podcaster. So find that person who is where you want to be. Reach out to them. Fortune favors the bold. I get people reaching out to me every day, Daryl, saying, John, will you mentor me? And guess what? I say no every single time. But guess what? I say, here are 4 or 5 amazing mentors for you. And just because I can't do it, and these people are probably even going to be better for you because, honestly, they love mentoring. They have the time to do it, and they excel at it. I don't excel at the one-on-one mentor, and I never have. And so by them reaching out to me, even though they get a no, they get an amazing mentor, and I'll even introduce them to that mentor, and that, will lead to great things for them. And number 2 is that Jim Rohn quote, and I end every Entrepreneur on Fire episode with it. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and people need to realize that, look around your bus of life. Who are the people on that bus? And those people who are just wasting your time, who are just gossip kings and queens, who are not doing much with their life. And honestly, they don't really want to see you do much with your life either, because that's going to kind of show them up. I'm not saying to cut them out of your life completely. I'm saying open up that bus, kick them out the back door, stay in touch with them off and on, then open up the front door and let in some amazing people, and just see what that does to your average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, what that new mastermind is that you've created. That's going to be the game changer. Yeah,
great. Those are 2 great tips. Were there any more consistent things?
Honestly, self-education was huge. People that really take the time to read the books, to listen to the audiobooks, to listen to the right podcasts, to read and follow the blogs and the great entrepreneurs that are out there. We have to always be self-educated. There has to be a love of that. And, despite the fact that for the first 32 years of my life, I wasn't an entrepreneur, I did always love self-educating. I loved reading. I loved consuming content. And I loved, just really learning new things about things that excited me. So just that desire to always wanting to be improving and learning, that really seems to be a consistent trait. And again, I'm coming up on episode 1000, so I'm choosing from a pretty large pool of of test results here.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, that's part of why I wanted to get you on the show, because my mission is to help create 200 new multimillionaire business owners, and I knew that you would have some insight into that. One, through your own success, but also because of so many people that you've been able to just learn from. Which, on its own, like even if you didn't have the success that you've had with Entrepreneur on Fire, just that alone probably would have revolutionized your life itself.
Yeah, totally.
So, all right. So, get a mentor. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. We both love Jim Rohn. He is
love him.
Brilliant man. It's a shame he's passed. And then self-education. I love that. Now, is that going against the trend? Because so many people are going to school for MBAs and business stuff. Like, can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what's your opinion on that? Do you need formal education if you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what? I don't want to set you on fire.
Well, I'll set myself on fire. I'm happy to do that. I have pretty strong opinions. I mean, what you need is to get in the trenches. Formal education to me is just you just pushing the buck down the road a little bit. You're getting more debt, and debt is the biggest enemy of entrepreneurs. You are wasting time because you're not actually doing the thing. You're just learning about the thing, frankly, from people 99 times out of 100 that have never done the thing. They're just collecting a paycheck as a professor. You're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. Get out in the trenches, learn from people who are actually doing it, get into a mastermind of people who are actually doing it. Start today. Stop pushing the buck down the road. It's the coward way. You're scared to start, so you're going to push the buck down the road by getting into some kind of education. And that was me. When I was done with the military, I was scared to actually face life, so I joined law school. That's the only reason I went to law school. I was scared to face real life, and I was like, well, for the next 3 years, people are going to think I'm awesome because I'm in law school. I'm quote unquote becoming a lawyer. Biggest mistake of my life. Wasted so much money, wasted so much time. I ended up dropping out because I hated it. Did it for all the wrong reasons. Stop it. Stop doing it. If you have a college degree, you've gone far enough. If you have a high school diploma and you don't feel a strong drive to go to college, don't do it. Get in the trenches, work for a couple years as an apprentice somewhere, and then maybe you go to college at 20 or 21. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to go down that road, later in life. But, don't just start accruing the entrepreneur's biggest enemy, which is debt. There's no reason to do it. If you're going to become a doctor, if you have a passion to become a lawyer, a veterinarian, any of those things, absolutely traditional education is the way to go. I wish you the best, awesome. I know 45, 50-year-old lawyers and doctors who are still paying off those college loans, but hey, they're passionate about it. That's fine. And if that's the way you want to go. But if you're listening to this podcast, that's unlikely. Don't waste your time. Don't get an MBA. Don't do all that stuff. I mean, that's, so 2010. We're in 2015 now.
Yeah, and that's true. And I remember reading an article in Maclean's, which was a big magazine up here in Canada, and it was something about how the top 10 in-demand jobs in 2013 didn't exist in 2012. So the world's changing way too fast. So I love the insight on that. There's something else I really want to pick your brain on, because I don't know if it comes from your military background or not, but we have a lot of mutual friends. And the one thing that I've heard people say consistently is you are so laser focused in ways like and that's such a powerful thing. And I want to hear more. Can you speak about the habits that you think have attributed to the success that you have had, and how do you stay so focused? It's too many questions at once, but
totally. But I'll just focus on the main question, which is focus. And that is my favorite word. And I'm actually looking at a nice banner that one of my Fire Nation listeners sent to me, where it just has the word focus with 2 Entrepreneur on Fire logos on both sides, and then below it, the acronym for focus: follow one course until success. Daryl, I wanted to bring the first 7-day-a-week podcast, interviewing inspiring and successful entrepreneurs, to the marketplace. I wasn't a podcaster. I wasn't a broadcaster. I had no online presence. I had nothing. And I knew I had nothing, but I knew that if I focused on that one thing, if I went 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep on 7-day-a-week podcasting, I would figure out a way to do it. And now, today, as we speak, not only have I figured out a way how to do a 7-day-a-week podcast every week, I do it 1 day a week. I do 8 interviews every Tuesday for Entrepreneur on Fire. I'm in, I'm out, I'm done. The other 6 days are doing other great things, like talking talking to you, like doing a webinar, a podcast workshop webinar, or anything else that I do to generate massive revenue for my business. And it all started from that just absolute laser focus, following one course until success. It's been the difference for me. Daryl, I see so many people going 1 mile wide and 1 inch deep. You can't make an impression on anybody or anything doing that. If you just focus on just going 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep, you're going to dominate that niche. You're going to make a name for yourself, create some buzz, and then you can grow the business and broaden out. I started with just a 7-day-a-week podcast. Now we have a whole suite of products. Don't be scared of pigeonholing yourself down there. Be excited. You're going to start your momentum from down there.
That's a great tip. I love it. And I love that quote too. Are there other habits that you have that have helped attribute to that? And how do you prioritize?
Prioritizing is everything. And I really point to Pareto's principle is that 80 or 20% of your activities result in 80% of your desired outcomes. So always be thinking about, what is my 20%? What's the 20% of the things that I do that actually provide the desired outcome of the 80% of the outcomes that I want, and continue to drill in on that. So, after the first year, I said, what's the 20% of things that I do that are really the things that are most beneficial? And then I just focus on that 20%. I let the other 80% go. I can't do everything. And then the next year, I zeroed in on the 20% of that 20%, and I continue to keep my business lean, mean, and focused at every level by continuing to do that as I move forward. I'm not trying to be the be all end all for every entrepreneur. I want people to say, hey, I want to start a podcast. Okay, the only place to go is freepodcastcourse.com. Take John's free 15-day course. It's better than any paid course out there. Oh, besides his Podcaster's Paradise, which you might want to join after taking that course, but you might not, because the course itself, Free Podcast Course, is a complete A to Z on how to create, grow, and monetize your podcast. And I did that purposefully. And because of that, I've had over 16,000 people go through that course. And that's been a massive reason for the success of Podcaster's Paradise, which is my paid community that has over 2,500 members. It's done over $3 million in revenue, and it hasn't even turned 2 years old yet.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And I love that, because part of the secrets to your success, the other thing is, I don't know, and maybe you can speak to this, but I don't know if you started off grouping all your interviews in one day when you wanted to do a 7-day-a-week podcast. But what I really love is the daily focus, because that's something I've been fortunate enough to train with a lot of in athletics. I trained with a lot of world champions, Olympic athletes, and then in business got to know some very successful people. And one thing that everyone says, there's daily focus. There's no days off. It's about a lifestyle. It's not about you obviously get what I'm talking about. Did you start off batching it in one day when you first started? What were some of the challenges and mistakes that you've kind of figured out as you over the last 2 years or so as you've optimized the process?
Number one, you said about 7 times in that sentence, which I love because you're Canadian. So I just love how you say about. But number two, honestly, for me, I was not able to batch from day one. And people have to realize it's about planting that seed, growing that foundation day by day, improving step by step, day by day as you go forward. Even to this day, I'm still improving my processes, tweaking my flow, making things more efficient every single day. That's why the 2 books that I recommend, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy and The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, those 2 books are all about every single day, just get a little bit better. Take little steps forward. They end up being something massive down the road in a major, major way. So for me, I didn't have a successful podcast before I launched. I didn't even have a podcast. I didn't have a name. I had nothing. So I had to really focus on just being flexible. Whenever, when Seth Godin, said that he could do an episode tomorrow at 1 p.m. and I had a dentist appointment, you better believe I skipped that dentist appointment and I interviewed Seth Godin on that random day. It wasn't until I established Entrepreneur on Fire as a successful business podcast and I could show people, hey, we're getting 100,000 listens per month. Now we're getting over 1 million listens per month. And now we're getting over 50 inbound requests of people to be on the show every single week. It's my virtual assistant's full-time job to siphon through all of that stuff. We have a massively long and in-depth application process for every single person that wants to be an Entrepreneur on Fire. And, I love when people say, John, I'm not going to fill out this application. I say, thank you. I really don't want to read it. So, good luck to you in life because believe me, I got entrepreneurs from here till, kingdom come. So that is what you really need to realize, is that building a business is just that, building. Take that first step, put that first foundation block down, and build upon that day by day. Just small wins add up to massive victories.
I love that. And Darren, you're right. The Compound Effect that's such a great book. Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. For those of you that didn't catch that, I highly, highly, highly recommend that.
Well, and real quick, because that's what I was going to say, is because Darren Hardy's mentor was Jeff Olson, who wrote the book The Slight Edge. So Darren Hardy was inspired by Jeff Olson's The Slight Edge and said, "Man, I want to build off of this book." So read The Slight Edge first and then read The Compound Effect, because Darren Hardy builds off of that book.
You know, Darren actually was mentored by Jim Rohn too. That's what I was going to interject. Yeah, because that's when I met him. It was John's a mutual friend's birthday, and we got to walking and talking. And then he sent me this package of all of his favorite Jim Rohn stuff, which is how I got to know Jim Rohn really intimately. It was a care package courtesy of Darren Hardy. So that was really cool.
Cool.
Now, through the growth, I mean, fast growth, there's often a lot of growing pains. Do you feel like you've crossed thresholds and stages? Do you have any recommendations? If anyone listening to this is in a fast growth trend or curve, like as far as structuring your business, your life, any security concerns, family, friends treating you, looking at you differently, can you speak to that a little bit?
Hey, I mean, if you want to go down this road, it's not going to be easy, and you're going to have to make sacrifices. To be honest with you, I moved from Maine to San Diego. I love my family, but I knew that I needed an isolated area where I could just focus on the business. You know, I just got back from a 17-day vacation. They're like, I can take the time out and go visit them and have a blast. But like, I love that I'm in my little isolated kingdom here in San Diego. And, and I've made some great friends out here. There's Pat Flynn's, and there's, the Michael O'Neill's and all these great people out here that I do spend time with and hang out. But for the most part, like, I love, the little isolated world that I've created here, because I'm all about the business. I still get to talk to people like you and all these other great entrepreneurs on my podcast. So it's not like I'm being a recluse, but I had to say, you know what, if I'm going to maximize this, there are sacrifices I have to make. I was willing to do it. And now I have a 7-figure a year business. In fact, we had our first $500,000 a month in May of 2015. So, my next big goal is that first 7-figure month. And we're not close to that yet, but, it's a goal to have, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. You'll hit it in no time, I'm sure. Like you said,
Thank you.
Focused, right? All right. So you didn't even get sparked to 32. You decided to launch the podcast. Now you've been growing. What are some of the other things that you're trying to do, or focus on, or do? Because you say you've got a couple of different projects or products. Because you've got Podcaster's Paradise, you've got myfreepodcast.com, you've got what's the other one? My Free Webinar? No.
Yeah. Let me just step in here to clarify. So we do have Podcaster's Paradise, which is our paid podcasting community, and I have a free course that I offer that leads into that. It's called freepodcastcourse.com. Then we also have a webinar on fire, where we teach people how to create and present webinars that convert. And there's a free 10-day course that leads into that called thewebinarcourse.com. So we have that. And of course, all of our stuff, Daryl, is at eofire.com. That's where all the magic happens. We list out our free trainings. We have a lot of opportunities for people to jump on it and just see what we have. So we're really excited about that. And that would be the place where I'd urge any listener to start at, just eofire.com. And, we're just having a blast. I mean, I'm going to be launching my first physical product in early 2016. It's going to be a journal. It's called The Freedom Journal, where every single day, let me first say what the tagline is. It's The Freedom Journal, accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. And that's what the book will do. You set a goal, and if you follow it and physically follow the Freedom Journal by writing it every day, holding yourself accountable, setting 10-day sprints, doing quarterly reviews, if you do that, you will accomplish your goal in 100 days, period. Of course, it has to be a SMART goal. And, the acronym for SMART is specific, measurable, attainable. It has to be attainable. It's not, I want to, live on the moon in 100 days. It has to be an attainable goal, realistic, and then timely. And that timely part is important too. And that's where the 100 days comes into effect. So I teach people how to set SMART goals, and then I walk them through actually accomplishing it in 100 days. And this is going to be a book that they're going to be able to hold and write in every day. I'm a big believer in that affirmation and that kind of thing. So I'm excited to get this book out there. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And, it's kind of something different than what we've done. So I like adding that to the mix.
No, I think that's a great idea, and I love it because it probably comes from, I think, a big challenge a lot of people in general, but especially entrepreneurs have, and that's just seeing their goals through to completion. I think that's at least something that I see with a lot of people. Often it depends. Sometimes it's a knowledge issue, sometimes it's a skill set issue, but often if they have those, often it's because they're their own bottleneck. Is that kind of like, how did you even come up with the idea to do that journal? Because I use one similar to that called the 5-minute journal, and I love that thing.
Yeah, that was my inspiration, Daryl, to be honest. I love that. I've actually had the founders on my show. They're both great. But the reality is I felt like the 5-minute journal, and nothing against it. It's amazing. But it's just, it's just uber repetitive. It's just like you open it up. It's like, okay, I'm going to do affirmations. I'm going to do a reflection on the day. And all those things are incredibly important. But at the same time, there wasn't a structure to it. And I wanted to bring something different to the marketplace and unique, which is a structure. Because, I'm all about the structure. I'm all about the accomplishing of goals. And that's what the Freedom Journal does. You accomplish your goal in 100 days.
That's awesome. You have to put me down for one of the first orders of it, because I.
Booyah! How about a signed copy for you, Daryl?
Thanks, man. You're such a good friend.
Cool.
So, all right. Well, again, I feel like you've given so much content in this call already, and I feel like you've seen so many other entrepreneurs. Is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't asked you?
It's a great question. And whenever I do get this question, which isn't enough, because it's something that a lot of people should realize, you should at some point in every interview kind of hand the mic over to the guest and just say, listen, you have some knowledge bombs to share that I might not know that you have. Like, what would be one of those things? And for me, it's just always going back to the basics and keeping things simple. And so there's a quote that I love sharing. If you want to be, do. And if you really just kind of keep that quote close to your hearts and close to your mind and to your thought process, things are so much easier. Because I wanted to be a podcaster, Daryl. And that was an overwhelming thought until I just said, you know what? If I want to be a podcaster, I just have to podcast. Like, it's really that simple. And I was going to podcast badly at first, and I did, but I knew I had to do that thing to become that thing. So if you want to be a writer, you have to write. If you want to become a singer, you have to sing. You have to do that thing and be willing to be bad. And so I was willing to be a bad podcaster for a significant amount of time to become, a good podcaster, to become a good host, a good interviewer. And that's critical. So whatever it is that you want to be, do that thing. Put in your time, put in the effort, start working towards those 10,000 hours that Malcolm Gladwell talks about. And believe me, far before you get to those 10,000 hours, you'll be doing that thing.
That was phenomenal. And to add to that, what you just said about the 10,000 hours, I saw a TED Talk recently, and the guy had cited some research that everyone talks about the 10,000 hours, and that's to be world class in your field.
World class.
And he was talking about how much there's a learning curve. And it's like, and there's a point of diminishing return for your time invested. So he was saying, how much time do you actually need to learn the fundamentals of a skill? And he went through all the research. And do you know how long it is, John?
I'm going to guess 100 days.
20 hours.
Wow.
20 focused hours on one thing will teach you the fundamentals. Wow. And then he got on stage and he said, he's like this. And he's like, and he pulled out a ukulele and he's like, just for this TED Talk, I've been studying the ukulele for 19 and a half hours. Like, and I'm going to put in my, and he just started playing it in his TED Talk. And that's what the research says. So that's you don't even need the 10,000 hours to be world class. But so I love what you said.
Well, let me kind of jump on this because I think it's so important. And then, as you know, I gotta jump to my next interview. But incredibly powerful stuff to realize. And this is from the little bit that I got in law school. An expert witness in a court of law is considered somebody who knows more than other people in that courtroom. You're an expert witness at that point. And to go on to what you said, I just logged into lynda.com over one weekend and took 13 hours of Adobe Audition video tutorials. And I actually even did them at double speed. So it was probably like 7.5 hours total. By the end of those tutorials, I can tell you, I guarantee you, I was better than 99% of the world at Adobe Audition. And that was just, in one weekend. And so now I can turn around and become a teacher and an expert of that skill that I attained in the course of one weekend.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, John, thank you for your time. I am going to respect your time, and thank you for joining us on the call today. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And yeah, just all the best to you, your family, your loved ones. And until I see you next time.
You rock, dude.
You've reached the end of our interview. Now, first, let me thank you for listening. I appreciate and respect you more than you'll ever know. And now I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what 3 lessons did you just learn? What 3 aha moments just jumped out at you? Second, what can you implement for yourself and your business in the next 24 hours? Third, what can you give to someone else to help you with, or give to them to just do it for you? Whatever it is, remember taking action is the secret sauce to results. Now, if you think this interview would be helpful for a friend, please give them a link to it. It'll help them and it'll help me too. I'd also like to invite you to help me find out more about the challenges you're facing, your dreams, your goals, and how I can help you overcome what's holding you back. We both do better when we know better, and your success is my success. So please reach out and interact. You can visit our website, bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, where I'm from and where I'm living. You're welcome to also try out one of our paid programs. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much every other social media channel you can think of. You should also subscribe to the podcast, and if you're enjoying them, please leave us a nice review. It really helps. That's all for now. Once again, thank you. Take care of yourself, and remember, the world needs the best business you can build. And I believe in you.